They say you can tell a lot about a person by how they treat those they think are beneath them. I learned that lesson the hard way on a Saturday night in Manhattan, standing outside the Plaza Hotel in a borrowed dress, being told I didn't belong. My name is Maya Patel, and this is the story of the night that changed everything. I'd been working as a home health aide for 3 years, caring for elderly patients who needed help with daily activities. The pay wasn't great, but the work was meaningful. I loved my patients, especially Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore, an 87-year-old former Broadway actress who'd become like a grandmother to me. Mrs. Whitmore had been insistent that week. Maya, darling, you must come to the Children's Hospital Foundation Gala on Saturday. I have an extra ticket, and I won't take no for an answer. I tried to refuse. A charity gala at the Plaza Hotel? That wasn't my world. I lived in a studio apartment in Queens, took the subway everywhere, and my idea of a fancy dinner was takeout that cost more than $10. But Mrs. Whitmore was persistent. You work so hard, dear. You deserve one magical evening. Besides, I need you there. My arthritis has been acting up and I might need help. So there I was, wearing a dress borrowed from my roommate, my hair done up in a style I'd copied from a YouTube tutorial, standing outside the Plaza Hotel's grand entrance. The building looked like something from a movie, all lit up against the night sky, with luxury cars pulling up one after another. I clutched my small purse and tried to calm my racing heart. I didn't belong here. Everyone could probably see that. I approached the entrance where a woman in an elegant black suit stood with a clipboard, checking names against the guest list. She was maybe 40, with sharp features and an even sharper expression. Name? She asked without looking up. Maya Patel. I'm Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore's guest. The woman's eyes flicked up, taking in my borrowed dress, my simple jewelry, my nervous posture. Her expression shifted to something cold and dismissive. I don't see a Maya Patel on the guest list. I'm Mrs. Whitmore's +1. She said she'd arrange everything. The woman made a show of checking her list again, her finger running down the page slowly. I'm sorry, but I can't let you in without proper authorization. This is an exclusive event. But Mrs. Whitmore is expecting me. Can you call her? She's already inside. Look, the woman said, lowering her voice but not enough that the couple behind me couldn't hear. This gala is for donors, philanthropists, and society members. It's not for everyone. Perhaps there was a misunderstanding about your invitation. The implication was crystal clear. She thought I was trying to crash the party. She thought I didn't belong. My face burned with humiliation. The couple behind me exchanged glances, and I heard the woman whisper to her companion. Please, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. If you could just check with Mrs. Whitmore. I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. You're holding up the line. Tears pricked my eyes. I wanted to argue to insist, but what was the point? This woman had already decided I didn't belong in her world. I stepped aside, fumbling for my phone to call Mrs. Whitmore, when I heard a familiar voice. Maya, there you are. Mrs. Whitmore appeared at the entrance, elegant in a silver gown, leaning on her cane but moving with surprising speed. Behind her was a distinguished-looking man in his 60s wearing a tuxedo. Mrs. Whitmore, I'm so sorry. They said I wasn't on the list. Nonsense. Jessica, what's the meaning of this? Maya is my personal guest. The woman with the clipboard, Jessica, suddenly looked uncertain. Mrs. Whitmore, I apologize, but there was some confusion. Her name wasn't on my list. Then your list is wrong, Mrs. Whitmore said sharply. Maya has been caring for me for 2 years. She's practically family. Now let her in immediately. Jessica's face flushed. Of course, Mrs. Whitmore. My apologies for the confusion. She stepped aside, and Mrs. Whitmore linked her arm through mine, leading me into the hotel. Don't let people like that get to you, dear, she whispered. They measure worth by bank accounts and last names. But you have something far more valuable, a good heart and a strong spirit. The ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from impossibly high ceilings. Round tables were draped in white linen and decorated with elaborate floral centerpieces. And everywhere I looked, people wore designer gowns and expensive jewelry. Mrs. Whitmore led me to a table near the front. The man who'd been with her at the entrance pulled out my chair. Maya, this is my son, Dr. James Whitmore. He runs the children's hospital. It's wonderful to meet you, Dr. Whitmore said warmly. Mother talks about you constantly. She says you're the best caregiver she's ever had. I smiled, still feeling shaky from the encounter at the door. Your mother is easy to care for. She's wonderful. As dinner was served, Mrs. Whitmore introduced me to the others at our table: donors, board members, people whose names I recognized from the society pages. They were polite but clearly curious about who I was and why I was sitting at such a prominent table. Halfway through dinner, Dr. Whitmore stood and walked to the podium at the front of the room. The conversations gradually died down as he tapped the microphone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight in support of the Children's Hospital Foundation. Your generosity has helped us provide care to thousands of children who otherwise wouldn't have access to quality medical treatment. Applause filled the room. Tonight, I want to talk about what real philanthropy looks like, Dr. Whitmore continued. We often think of charity as writing checks, attending galas, having our names on plaques. And yes, financial donations are crucial. But I want to introduce you to someone who embodies a different kind of giving. My heart started pounding. Mrs. Whitmore squeezed my hand under the table. Earlier this evening, at the entrance to this very event, a young woman was turned away. Someone decided she didn't look like she belonged at a charity gala. That young woman is Maya Patel, and she's sitting right there. Every head in the room turned to look at me. I felt my face burning again, but this time for different reasons. What the person at the door didn't know, Dr. Whitmore continued, is that Maya has been caring for my mother for 2 years with such dedication, such compassion, that my mother considers her family. What they didn't know is that Maya works 2 jobs as a home health aide during the day and at a community center teaching English to immigrants at night. I hadn't realized Mrs. Whitmore had told her son about my second job. What they didn't know is that last month, when my mother had a health scare at 2 a.m, Maya didn't hesitate. She left her own home, traveled an hour across the city, and stayed with my mother until the paramedics arrived. She rode with her to the hospital and didn't leave her side until I could get there. Mrs. Whitmore was crying now, dabbing at her eyes with her napkin. And what they certainly didn't know, Dr. Whitmore said, his voice growing stronger, is that Maya has been donating 10% of her modest salary to our Children's Hospital Foundation every month for the past year. Not for recognition, not for a tax write-off. She didn't even tell my mother about it. We only discovered it when processing donations this week. Shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. I felt tears streaming down my own face now. Maya Patel gives more, as a percentage of her income, than most of the millionaires in this room, Dr. Whitmore said. She gives her time, her energy, her compassion, and yes, her hard-earned money to help children she's never met. That's what real charity looks like. That's what true philanthropy is. He looked directly at me. Maya, would you please stand? On shaking legs, I stood. The entire ballroom erupted in applause. Not polite charity gala applause, but genuine, thunderous appreciation. Dr. Whitmore continued. Tonight, the Children's Hospital Foundation Board of Directors has voted unanimously to create a new scholarship program in Maya's honor. The Maya Patel Scholarship will provide full funding for young people from underserved communities who want to pursue careers in healthcare. Because Maya represents what we need more of in this world, people who give without expecting anything in return. I couldn't stop crying. Mrs. Whitmore stood and hugged me tight. You deserve this, darling, she whispered. You deserve to be seen for who you really are. As I sat back down, still overwhelmed, people from other tables began approaching. Donors wanted to contribute to the scholarship fund. Hospital board members wanted to meet me. Even the mayor, who I hadn't noticed was in attendance, came over to shake my hand. But the most meaningful moment came near the end of the night. Jessica, the woman from the entrance, approached our table. She looked uncomfortable, embarrassed. Miss Patel, she said quietly, I owe you an apology. I made assumptions about you based on appearance, and I was completely wrong. I'm truly sorry for how I treated you. I could have been cold. Could have made her feel as small as she'd made me feel. But that wasn't who I was. "Thank you for apologizing," I said. "We all make mistakes. What matters is learning from them." After she walked away, Mrs. Whitmore smiled at me. "You're a better person than I am, dear." I wanted to have her fired. She was just doing what she thought was her job, I said. Protecting an exclusive event. She didn't know any better. "That's exactly why you deserve this recognition," Dr. Whitmore said. "You see the humanity in everyone, even those who don't see it in you." As the gala wound down and guests began to leave, I stood on the Plaza Hotel steps, the same steps where I'd been humiliated hours earlier, and looked out at the Manhattan skyline. I thought about all the times I'd been made to feel less than. All the times people had looked at my simple clothes, my immigrant parents' accents, my working-class neighborhood, and decided I wasn't worth their time. But I also thought about Mrs. Whitmore, who'd seen past all of that to who I really was. About Dr. Whitmore, who used his platform to honor the kind of giving that doesn't come with plaques or recognition. About a room full of wealthy people who'd stood to applaud a home health aide. The scholarship in my name would help dozens, maybe hundreds of young people pursue healthcare careers. Kids like me from backgrounds like mine who had the heart and the drive but not the financial means. All because I'd shown up. All because Mrs. Whitmore had refused to let me be dismissed. All because someone with power had chosen to use it to elevate rather than exclude. My name is Maya Patel. I'm a home health aide from Queens. I wear borrowed dresses to fancy galas and take the subway home afterward. And I learned that belonging isn't about wealth or status or having your name on the right list. It's about showing up with an open heart, giving what you can, and treating every person with dignity, even those who don't extend the same courtesy to you. They told me I didn't belong at that gala. But the truth is, I belong there more than most. Not because of what I wore or where I came from, but because of what I gave and who I chose to be. And that's something no one can ever take away.